have been putting off doing this book haul video for far too long, so I am trying to use this dopamine hit of like fucking panic to get this video done. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm at an Airbnb right now. This is gonna be quick, unhinged book haul, why I picked up this book, what I know about it, and I need your guys' help to let me know if I should read it in April or May. This is like 3 or 4 different visits to Half Price Books, Barnes & Noble, and also our local recycled bookstore. This is the first month where I'm like building a TBR ahead of time for my channel, which feels kind of scary because with my ADHD brain, it's very mood driven, and I feel like my emotions fluctuate a lot, just as Rachel, like a sensitive little soul. I don't know, it's gonna be interesting to see how I can fulfill reading my TBR list for April. So without further ado, we're gonna get into this because I have to leave, and like I don't know why I keep talking forever. It's a Midwest thing, I think. The first book in this unhinged motherfucking book haul is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I'm sure you guys have heard of this book. I've seen it everywhere. I pretty much know nothing about it. The reason why I picked this up is because World of Warcraft, the movie, and my husband plays the game, but this reminds me of one of the main characters in World of Warcraft, the movie. I'm not a World of Warcraft stan, so like, don't come for me, but just when I picked up this book cover, it looked just like her and it reminded me. Also, it's about lattes and like fictional fantasy characters, so why wouldn't I read this? But that's pretty much all I know about this book. I'm excited to read it, but it feels more like a cozy read for me, which I don't read a lot of cozy reads, so this might actually be really good for my mental health. The next one, Dowry of Blood. I am so freaking excited to read this book. This is a Dracula retelling. I've heard so much about this. I've heard that it's exceptional. I tried listening to the audio version and I was bored as fuck. I think it's one of those books that I have to read the physical copy, so I am really super excited to read this. From my understanding, I mean, number one, I picked it up because it's about vampires, so like, duh, on brand for me. Number two, look at this cover. That's exceptional branding. That's enticing. That's inviting. That makes me want to know what the fuck is going on with this girl. Like, stunning. What happened to her eyes? Why is there blood covering her face? What's going on with this? Like, and then this, desire, obsession, control. Okay. Check, check, check. I'm in. So I'm excited, but from what I'm understanding, it's a Dracula retelling from the bride's perspective, which I love. I love everything about Dracula. I'm a fucking vampire stan. The Coldest Touch. I truly have no idea what this is about, but the cover of this looks so fucking cool. I found this at Half Price Books, and oh, it's got vampires in it as well. Which, like, just look at her hand and her. I'm feeling like this is a leather jacket that this person is wearing. A pale hand, dark, pointy, black nails. I mean, everything about this screams Rachel. Screams Rachel would enjoy, Rachel would breed, Rachel would also wear. So had to pick this one up. It says, Elise is cursed. Every time she touches someone, she experiences how they will die, and when she predicts but is unable to prevent her brother's death, Elise is desperate to escape her terrible gift. Then she meets Claire, vampire tasked with helping Elise master her rare powers. As soon as I saw this, and then the confirmation was on the back when it said vampire, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm in. A Darker Shade of Magic by B.E. Schwab. Already read this. Already read it. I got the physical copy, and then I downloaded it on Kindle, read it so quick. Read all 3 of them last month. So yeah, I'm excited to review this for you guys. What I will say, V.E. Schwab, you gotta give us a little spice, baby girl. I felt like I was deprived. I was thirsty during that book series because that main character is giving like Draco Malfoy vibes from Manacled mixed with the Scamander from Fantastic Beasts. So it's like this gentle, sexy magic daddy, and I need a little something. And the female main character is like a badass pirate. I mean,
1 + 2,
The next book that I have is Suburban Hell. Again, I picked this up at Half Price Books because of the cover. My best friend and I both got this. We are going to read it together, which we were supposed to like 3 months ago, but hashtag ADHD besties. We totally forgot it existed until we went to Barnes & Noble the other night and the person recommended this. From my understanding, this is about a zombie apocalypse where the suburban mothers have to like take care of it, which
what don't we take care of, you know? Like, we fucking take care of everything.
Excited to read this. I think I'm gonna have a whole video about zombies. I'm doing like a series where it's gonna be like different creatures and species, so that should be fun. Oh, I just got this one and I am so excited for this. The Final Girl Support Group. This looks so good. Okay, so before our Airbnb trip over Easter in the cabin in the woods, I went to Barnes & Noble and I was like, I want you to recommend hor-ror. Hor-ror. Every time I say that, it sounds like whore. Hor-ror to me, and I picked this one up and she was like, I haven't read that yet, but it sounds really good. She told me essentially it's like, you know, all of the women from the scary movies who run away and they escape and they don't get murdered, they all form a support group and they have to figure out like a crime or something. So I don't know much about it, but I mean, come on, that cover just had me. I haven't read a lot of horror, so I'm not really sure. Also, I was just blown away by my experience at Barnes & Noble while I was picking up some of these books for the cabin, because this worker, who I love, I talk to her every time I go there, she's such a vibe, she was telling me that vampires are horror. Vampire books are horror. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with my brain? Because vampires to me are like PG-13. Like, that's just like everyday life. I don't think that's considered horror. Anyways, cue the identity crisis. Okay, but I am excited to read this one. Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Someone recommended this book to me on BookTube. So if it was you, hi, I love you. I'm going to read this. I'm excited. I have absolutely no idea what this is about. Like, literally none. I haven't even read the back of it. We just going in blind to this one. I love V.E. Schwab's writing. She's great at writing. I could do a little bit more spice, but I don't know if her books are considered young adult or not. So if they're considered young adult, that would make sense that there's no spice. But if they're considered adult fantasy, I'm just like, boo, we gotta have like a little something, you know, like a little something, more than a peck in 3 books. I'm a little traumatized from A Darker Shade of Magic. I gotta talk about it. My battery's gonna die. I need to put a new one in, and then I need to finish this. I'm like halfway through. Finley Donovan is killing it. I've never heard anything about this book. I have no idea what it's about. The cover, I mean, it says it all. Like, as soon as I saw this cover, I'm like, I'm picking this up. I'm going in totally blind. I don't know what this is about or what to expect in any capacity. It says it's murder, being a hit mom. She's a hit mom? I mean, come on. I'm excited about that one. I think I've said I'm excited about like every single one, but I am excited about all of these, or else I wouldn't have picked them up in physical copy. The honking in the back is going to be the death of me. Her Body and Other Parties. This is a collection of short stories. I went into Barnes & Noble specifically asking about short stories. I found one of the employees and I asked her what her favorite short stories are. She recommended 2 different ones. I have this one and another. She said this one is kind of grotesque, but it's about like women's bodies and what we go through. And she said it's kind of like horror short stories. So I'm really excited. I don't really know anything about what to expect about this, but I just knew when she was talking about the experience of being a woman and having a woman body and the horrors that we go through within our body and our mind, I was like, man, say less. I need to read this. I think it's going to be something that I normally would never pick up or like have never read anything like that. So hopefully we'll see. This one I'm really stoked about. This one is called Wilder Girls, and one of my favorite booktubers, BooksandLala, you should go check her out. She's amazing. She also has red hair. So hey girl, hey. She loved this book and she talked about how this is kind of like Lord of the Flies, but with girls. And I loved Lord of the Flies. My husband also loved Lord of the Flies, and just like, look at this cover. It's stunning. This is really all I know about this book. I think that a theme that I'm seeing just from this book haul is I go into books like really unprepared and not knowing anything about them, and I think that's actually really good for my brain. You guys know this by now if you've been on my channel for a while, but if you're new, I am clinically diagnosed OCD and ADHD, and it's really easy for me to see patterns like with people's behaviors, see patterns with people's life story, see patterns in books and stories and plots, and like, I'm a writer at heart. So I feel like it's best for me to actually go in blind, because if not, I've already thought about the entire book and where it's going in the plot and the ends and the twists. So like, who wants to read when that's what your brain is doing? This is another book that I picked up during the Cabin in the Woods haul, which, by the way, I got a bunch of these books to read at the Cabin in the Woods, and then ended up, we were playing games for so long and we were having so much fun with our friends that I didn't even fucking read the whole time I was at the cabin. Oh, I didn't even know. Okay, so this is How to Sell a Haunted House. It's from the same author as the Final Girl Support Group, so that's cool. I hope I like this person's writing, but look at this cover. I was like, man, I need to read this. Oh no. We don't have time for tissues. My allergies are like just coming right now, and I don't know what's going on. We don't have time for allergies. Why? Forgot what I was gonna say about this entire book. So moving on. This is the second recommendation for short stories that employee of Barnes & Noble told me. She said this is really good about like the human experience and learning to belong on Earth. And it's called No One Belongs Here More Than You. I feel like this is gonna be a feel-good experience for me. I'm hoping, I'm praying. I literally always stab myself when I'm recording. I get too animated. I'm too excited. The next one is from my horror haul.
Horror haul, not my whore haul. Horror haul.
Tender is the Flesh. I've heard some mixed reviews about this book. The cover is freaking stunning. I'm obsessed with this cover. I think it looks so cool. From my understanding, this is about cannibalism, which, again, not something I would typically read about, but you know what? I'm trying to branch out. I'm trying to branch out this year. I'm trying to read different books. Been logging my books for you guys so I can film some wrap-ups, and I pretty much read fantasy, paranormal, romance, and romance. So, and dark romance. So pretty much romance or fantasy, and that's like all I read. So I really wanted to try some new things. I don't even remember buying this. I probably bought it because of the cover. An indigenous dark fiction anthology, Never Whistle at Night. So again, this is short stories. I am excited to read this. I have no idea what this is about other than it's short stories. This one I'm pumped about. I got this at Half Price Books, right? Or I think Half Price Books. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. So I've seen this everywhere. This is gonna make me seem so silly. I've seen this everywhere, and I literally thought that the author was named Emily Wilde and that she literally wrote this book about fairies, like in our reality. I didn't realize it was a fantasy novel written by Heather Fawcett. So the branding got me. It was good.
Oh my god, you guys, my battery just died. I looked at the time. I gotta fucking go. I gotta make this faster. I'm talking too much.
The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. The person at Barnes & Noble recommended this. I've seen it for a few years because obviously it's about vampires and peaches, and I love Georgia because of The Vampire Diaries was filmed there. My best friend also got that one, so we're going to try to read it together. Masters of Death. This just looked really intriguing. I have no idea what it's about, but the cover got me. I love skeletons. I love all spooky things. And the color, like the branding, was really intriguing to me. So I got that one. Heartless Hunter. I've seen so much about this. I have no idea what this is about. Again, the cover and the branding. I really just wanted to read this. I believe it's fantasy. Remarkably Bright Creatures. I have seen so much about this. So many reviews about this. Has been an exceptional book. I cannot wait to read this. It's totally different than my norm. And so, yeah, I had to pick it up. Also, the cover is just fucking stunning. Mr. Magic.
I read a lot, or I read the back of this. I love this branding. I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying right now, but
I love this branding. This is just such a vibe for me. I'm so drawn to this. Apparently, it's about like a show that was on TV where these people were not treated well and then some things pop off. So I don't really know, but I've got the overall vibe and mostly just picked it up because of the branding, and it says Mr. Magic, which is like a cool ass fucking name for a book. So we're gonna see how it goes. The last one is Cursed. This is the second book, so I actually need to read the first book, which is Gilded, which I heard is not great, but I love the branding on this. It looks like vampires to me. I don't know if it is, but I love the branding, and that's why I picked it up. You guys, this has been the Unhinged book haul. That's all I've got for you. Let me know in the comments which ones I should put on my April TBR and which ones I should read in May. Let me know if you've read any of these and which ones you recommend first. Again, thanks for being here. I know this has been chaotic. This has been unhinged. It has shown my ADHD brain, but I am glad you watched it if you made it this far. Like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next week for our next video. And ADHD? The fuck, I'm off.
this is the setting of the Airbnb.
I have an appointment in Dallas at 3:40, and I am in Waco, which is 2 hours away. This sound is crazy.
I gotta fucking drive all the way to Dallas, so I gotta go. I